Full Metal Alchemist, the misconception of equivalent exchange in the anime community. Okay, so how do I put this? Full Metal Alchemist is one of the most amazing concepts for anime I have ever seen, but as far as keeping me engaged, it is one of the worst animes of all time, especially Brotherhood. What if I told you that this guy right here started watching the beginning of the original Fullmetal Alchemist online in Japanese because he was interested due to the artwork of Tsunami? What got me into the series, Edward's Drip. It was literally the fact that literally he had a middle arm, he had a red cape, and he looked like a Spartan. I looked at that and nothing else. I didn't like his brother, sorry, nothing else. So guess what nerds do? Nerds take his brother and they give his brother substance. Like they take the fact that he's hollow and they give him a soul. So this is what nerds do today. Literally some of that. I'm like, you can't get away with doing that, especially not with me. And they go on to detail to what if Lily Alphonse had a soul, Lily, would he say a soul where a bum, would he say a soul where Lily, a grown baby and stuff like that, Lily, based on his build, based off his chin structure, like Lily, Sabo and all them, they spam that in the anime community if you're top tier. Like Lily, our troll can do a lot of things with that, Lily, because Lily, our troll is trained to take concepts and flip them, but what they forget is what happens if you flip them, but you attack it where it base. Like, they can do that, but where if I attack Fullmetal Alchemist as a whole, the only way to combat that is going into its historical references of Fullmetal Alchemist and how it's comparable to Germany and Nazis. Literally, that's the only way you can get somebody off guard. But what if I tell you I'm not interested in that? But what if I told you society attacked me at that angle? But I'm like, why would you put it in a Japanese cartoon, one that I specifically don't like, if you really want me to pay attention to politics? Maybe it wasn't for me to watch. Maybe it's for me to critique and for like literally your own story to unravel. This is why me and my best friend Robert Lily had the biggest Lily argument over Lily Fullmetal Alchemist. I even had an argument with him in high school. You can't say it's in public. You can't, but he pushed me in the corner to the point where I had to. Lily, I tried watching Fullmetal Alchemist. I tried to do this and that, but I was a heavy Fairy Tail fan. So Lily, we were walking down the street. I'm all like, bro, Fairy Tail is better than Fullmetal Alchemist. And he's all like, fuck Fairy Tail. And this is at the time when Lily, my friend Andre, aka Peter, is saying fuck Fairy Tail. It's all about Fist of the North Star. Fuck Fairy Tail. It's all about Port Royal. Shiver is for fucking operas and fucking soap operas and shit. Lily, like this and that, Lily, this and that, Lily, this and over and over. I can understand Peter saying that, but I couldn't deny when Robert said that Fullmetal Alchemist is better because Lily, the plot is better, Lily, the storyline is better, but guess what happened? The inner continents, Lily, the inner content, Lily, what is Fullmetal Alchemist? This one big ass fucking drag. Lily, Fairy Tail keeps you engaged, it gives you shit along the way, but it has a worse theme, Lily, fucking shitty character development, Lily, a repetitive theme, but it gives you tons and tons of substance. It's definitely a good, fun anime, Lily. It's the exact opposite of Fullmetal Alchemist. Lily, how boring Fullmetal Alchemist is, Fairy Tail is fun. And he had the right to say that on paper. You can't say it out loud. You can't say Fairy Tail is better than Fullmetal Alchemist. It's not that world, sorry. It will never be that world. You have to recognize that, but that's why it gives you character. That's why you gotta keep it aside, and that's gonna make you more special than the next person, trust me. Because what if I told you Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood was specifically made to give you that excuse? Not the original, but Brotherhood. What if I told you that this guy liked the original because it actually made an original anime better, and that they made Brotherhood for every other anime? He could notice it first thing, but then nerds are gonna attack him like actual nerds, and the first one are gonna go into detail about why it's better than the first one. I'm like, why? The first one feels, and like Lily, I can tell it's more original and shit, like Lily. And then they're gonna say, well, this one actually is condensed to a manga, and I'm viewing it the way it was aired and compared to. I'm like, I like it when it was more boring because it actually meant it was a show. I don't like when they're trying to add action or to make me Lily distracted. I'm like, Lily, I feel like that takes away from the theme of the show. Lily, you don't understand. Like, Lily, I know when one thing's vlog and one thing doesn't. I'm like, I don't like how they're making this elaborate. I like how they make it ambient or for you, Lily, to be mature, like Lily, and make you wonder and some of that. Because I know after that mystical feel, there's nothing more than anime. You may think it is this and that, but literally, fucking, when you see an anime, and you see somebody chilling, and you get the ambient feel, what you see is what you get. Literally. And I can watch a series based off that fucking concept, but when you're trying to add facts, when you're trying to add lore, when you're trying to say that this anime is a definition why I don't take politics seriously, it's that they exactly said, I don't take politics seriously because of Fullmetal Alchemist. You know why? Because of who is presenting the message. A guy with short guy syndrome, literally fucking what a male arm he got from jacking off and Lily, but then they gave me room to say this. I'm like, do you really think that the plot of Full Metal was stupid, Lily? Because Lily, this is how stupid people are. Like Lily, definitely supports propaganda because literally it's harder than fairy tale. They make stupid excuses for it. Like I just got out the barbershop and literally I started talking about anime and literally freaking I started talking about Code Geass and I started talking about Fullmetal and they tried to defend Fullmetal because it's the cleanest one. It's the one you can say is the most American, right? But guess what I say? He's like, well, he took the book and did the unthinkable. I'm like, how does he do the unthinkable when it was already thought of and put in a book? And literally, you get literally. That's the problem with our society. You think it's deep? It's not that deep to me. All Ed had to do was not play with fire, literally, and fucking this. This is me on the outside. I'm not obsessed with this series. I haven't watched both series in and out. I just took the concept and took out society was criticizing me, and I took it out FMA, and you're not even making it entertaining for me to watch. It did literally. My friend shows me literally the best part and tells me to keep watching shit. I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, literally, it's crazy. Shit like that. It is insane. You see how actually fucking stupid he was, and all I had to do was watch the first episode, like literally figure him out. Literally, and so my friend, what he did was he went even to more depth, like literally telling me why Naruto was stupid because Naruto was in filler at the time, and my friend decided to rewatch Brotherhood, and literally he was a big fan of the original one, and I'm like, I guess you have to be a fan of the original one in order to stay through this shit, and he kept on telling me this and that, literally, it was insane. While I watched with him, he's like, in order to get into it, like literally freaking, like you have to go to Germany and the Nazis and stuff, and that the references, and he started even improvising, trying to pretend to be my cousin. Literally, when Ling was literally crossing the border, he's like, this guy's a hot boy. Like literally, he's trying to get across, like literally a sergeant, and he's a foreigner and stuff like that. Literally, trying to get political. Literally. He's forcing it to be political, but he's saying it to somebody who was literally fucking at the time literally labeled autistic by his peers. Like literally, shit like that. He did that literally at the time when I was getting like literally no friends, no bitches and stuff like that. So I'm not even believing him at then. I'm forced to believe him because his position, because he gets results. You gotta understand, no matter how ignorant you fucking sound, I have to view your position eventually. Literally, I don't have the right to argue if you're a king, even if you're a dumb king. Do you get it? Like literally, but literally, what if you're a royalty member that's dumb as shit? I was brutally being down where everybody was hype on the fucking Fullmetal Alchemist, where I get everybody made fun of me for watching fairy tale. Everybody told me to grow up, and then we get this anime that gives you literally fake political views on life, literally give you fake ways to view life. Like literally, what Fullmetal Alchemist does is what made it separate from other manga was it had a mature theme, but it's still established to be childish. And I got that from a video, but that's truly what Fullmetal Alchemist is about. That's what broke the show in archetype. That's why it's corny at moments, but when it's serious and super serious, and the machines are like mature. But that's why they always have people like Riri, we have people like Roy, we have corny people in order to balance it out, because literally it really crosses the border of really shonen being under 13 at times when it comes to maturity of teams, especially with Shao Tucker. But at the same time, literally, that's not enough. Literally, that's enough to label me, for me to label it a great anime, but you can't literally, if you do that without keeping that Shao Tucker feel throughout the entire anime, I'm gonna pick Death Note or Hunter x Hunter of something that's more providable of substance over that than FMA. I feel like Hunter x Hunter is better than FMA. I feel like Death Note is better than FMA because literally, not only are they able to like provide the same themes of like survival, they're able to keep it more entertaining and more intricate and a little bit more colorful. And what that does to me is that lets me take the show a lot less seriously, and it makes me look at the show a lot more down to earth. Especially since all the forced political views, I'm like, you guys are making up for it. I'm like, and there was one time I was at the popular kids table, literally, was talking about if this guy literally was a tagger and got kicked out of school, I rode a skateboard and shit, and he always used to support me, but you know how Earth goes, wherever he gets the coolest guy at school, they either go to a Jewish school or to the hot girl and gets kicked out because they threatened to sleep with him. And this guy literally said something that you could really blame the stereotype for, literally. And I started talking about anime, like really, why can't I get her girls? And he's like, well, I like this one that was called the Fullmetal Alchemist. That's the only anime I liked. And so that literally, and that really doesn't help my case. The one person who supports me, like literally, who supports my dancing career, like freshman year, the only cool person left who visited campus, knowing that I know he's doing illegal shit and shit. He checks up on me. He agrees with the one thing that I don't. It really pissed me off. That's all a part of literally freaking like propaganda. They made it easy for him to say yes because of drip. Those are people who actually view anime this on a drip basis, who will view it as long as the popular kids watch it, and that's not good. Because literally, look at how little substance that is compared to all the other ones. So where we're getting at is equivalent exchange. I used to piss people off, like literally, like Chaos X Jones, somebody who I beat in the battle who they always showed more respect to me, Lily. So Lily, I face this guy and he's all like, well, you'll get the big of FMA, this and that. Lily, it's all about moving on and doing something about your resolve. So you're telling me when Ed Lily had the right to go down to a fucking fire station or go all the way down and tell the fucking drill sergeant Lily that his mom got dead due to some fucking alchemy. There's a book in front of him specifically telling him not to fucking touch Lily, and he actually touches the books, and he actually, instead of moving on, tries to bring his mom back even, and I hear him with all that, he's like, oh my god, stop, and then people like shouting, she's like, Riz, you think too hard, and so that is exactly why it's a part of propaganda. You'll understand that they made Brotherhood dumb down specifically so I can't hit you at the angles like, yo, fucking, I just like it because of original, why is it as quiet, why is it trying to be loudmouth like Naruto, it isn't, like, Lily, why is it trying to be a show that it's fucking not, but they still keep it their original storyline in order for nerds to catch you off guard in case of why I say it's whack, Lily, because they want you to know that you're taking this shit too seriously and you're adding shit onto it in order to make it more interesting when Lily, the only thing that's keeping you in time for Brotherhood is the fact that you're already a fan of the first one, and people know it throughout, and I'm like, oh my god. The script exchange. Now that I broke down every single Easter egg, let me tell you why people fall for it. Because a lot of people who are in rebellious mindset will look at shit like that and like, Lily, they will be intrigued by it and they won't ever see something bad by it. This is how you know this is an anime that's made to absorb the concept of NOS. This anime was simply made for me to view and specifically made for me to criticize over time. When I looked at FMA, I wanted to watch it. I wonder why I couldn't keep watching, because they didn't make it viewable for my eyes past a certain point, because we're like, I want you to compete with this. I want you to watch this. In order to you to understand this, put you in a situation where you can't relate. You see how you can kind of relate to DBZ? You see how you can't relate to Fairy Tail? I'm going to give you an anime that you can't relate to at all because you don't stand for this, but I'm going to show you what people are going to do once it releases. They got to go starting into the deep methods, you got to start doing this and that, and all you got to know is a drip. And then literally when they hit you that you're a little kid, they're not going to be able to keep their pride because they always see you being reasonable watching Frieza and shit. So I'm gonna give them Fairy Tail. I'm gonna give them something that you're gonna love, that you can easily get into it. They're gonna hold on to Fullmetal Alchemist, and they're gonna continue calling you a little kid to face life challenges and stuff like that. When you're just absorbing how fun Fairy Tail is, and you literally don't want to get into Fullmetal Alchemist, because it's not helping you with your current struggle, going to school and stuff like that. It's not helping deal with this and that. But there is a lot of shit that is connected to society and how people work. It's not society as a whole, but how people within society works. They tell you about how mad people work, like how people are jealous. They teach you about pedophilia. They teach you about literally fucking how people get lost in their own obsession and shit. They teach you a whole lot about that, like literally on a deeper basis. It's way more down to earth, like the life lessons in Naruto, but it's for the our side society that you shouldn't even support. And that's what I noticed about Fullmetal Alchemist, like Scar and stuff like that. Somebody who's badass and anti-villain, some of that, like literally Robert views the world like Scar and shit, like literally. So there's a lot to relate to if you're dark. But literally, when I see shit like that, I'm like, dude, you're just making up for the fact that you want to be gangster and stuff like that. Literally, this anime gives you the excuse and say this and that, where you know you're just a kid throwing a temper tantrum, because I'm the human one saying there's no reason for all this shit to happen. I stopped watching Brotherhood after Scar fucked up Ed's arm the very first time. I'm like, this isn't fucking funny to me. The main character who's already fucking boring me gets fucked up by Scar, and like, what is this shit to me? It's very interesting. It's very freaking Lily. When you're keeping up with the story, it is cool. It's pinpoints. But guess what? In Fullmetal Alchemist, like moments like those are 15 episodes in between. It's only a 54 anime. So they give the excuse to say that's only 54 episodes, saying that I'm not patient when you're purposely doing shit to throw me off and make me turn off the episode. And then there was this one time where I wanted to sit down with Robert, but Robert was being a boho at the time. Well, I wanted to tell him, and literally, we were playing Storm 4, and I saw Lady Kagura, and he's like, dude, that looks like some Fullmetal Alchemist shit. I'm like, FMA and Naruto are heavily connected. What Kagura did is literally, she really established a whole meaning of FMA between that one eye, and I could break that down to so many different things, so why I don't need to watch FMA, because Naruto is more complex. Fullmetal Alchemist, when you already know about pedophilia, when you already know about gangs going up, you could definitely watch this shit and escape the world like, yo, this and that, but the show will make it very clear to you that you're watching a cartoon, man. It does give you the excuse for it, but if you gotta use this Japanese cartoon to really make an excuse that you're not gangster all the way, you're not being a nerd all the way, you're trying to flex right in between, and somebody who's willing to watch Fairy Tail, who's willing to understand it's a catch 22, and not expecting it to be super actiony, and literally, I understand the show is called Fairy Tail. Let me watch it, see what it's about, since it's already related to Dragon Ball Z. Lily, you're not gonna have the mindset of that. You're definitely not gonna be able to like let go of the title in order to actually watch the show that has kick-ass music, kick-ass fights, and like really funny scenes and stuff like that. You're not gonna be able to get past it because of the title, Fairy Tale. We need somebody Lily to knock that out and look at all the other contents because everything that Fullmetal Alchemist doesn't have, Fairy Tale has a ton. Lily, it will keep you watching. It will keep your fan involved. It's pretty easy to get into. So where Robert gets this fucked up concept is exclusively exchange. And every time Lily, the Arrow, and everybody, they see me in a higher position in life and they see like they're still losers, they think it's exclusively exchange because they see how hard it takes for me to get there and they're like, exclusively exchange. I'm like, exclusively exchange? Exclusively exchange? You know the only reason why you're even getting close to seeing my shit is because you're in a gang. Exclusively exchange? This is your obsession. Exclusively exchange? Now I could say, how the fuck do you expect me to believe exclusively exchange for black people and white people don't have equal rights? And then you could come and be like, Eris, you know you have to be street smart at this part of life. You know you can't do some right shit. You know life is too complex to really fall back in that time period shit, Eris. You know you can't make it. You know that most of those speeches are only for pussies, Eris. You already know that doesn't work in high school. But I never had the chance to use on the outside world. That works perfectly, especially when you have kids and shit. Beautiful words, but I'm down by a fucking gang member saying that they're corny and shit like that. They just really want to ignore the lesson. They force you to say something in a universal rhythm in order for it won't to come off to you. So when you repeat it in your head, it won't come off as corny, but you know you fucked up. I'm like, okay, well I'm gonna add some meaning to it if you gotta cover it up with delivery. And so I'm like, exclusively exchange. Like, I get the fuck bitches all day. You guys are on the computer. What is this exclusively exchange? But look, you have no friends. And it makes you desperate, Lily, to say somebody stuck 2 fingers up your ass one time. When I'm killing shit, 9 times out of 10, and I have receipts on paper. I'm getting results from my training. One time. This is exclusively exchange. We get put in exclusively exchange situations. So the only thing exclusively exchange about life is the ninja phase. You know when you have to stop and think about your next decision? That's the only time it's exclusively exchange. God always gives 2 people equal opportunity. Now, what does one person do with it? One person takes advantage, the other person fucks it off. There's no such thing as exclusively exchange in this world. The only thing that's even is the timeline. What goes around comes around. If you decide to fuck around and make a mistake and continue making the same mistake, by the time that mistake comes back, they'll allow you to make the same mistake, get high off your friends and stuff like that, and then literally, where it comes to what you learn, you fall for the same mistake again. Literally. Like, literally, like when I went to Fanime, literally, that's the script exchange right there. All the cop fucking from junior high, all the people who literally said this and this to me on Facebook. That's why I got to grab all those asses. It's script exchange, but that came from knowledge, that came from time, that came from opportunity, and that also came from 2 freshman years, one in my high school and one I created on my own. And that's literally how you can take advantage of the opportunity. It's script exchange comes from experience, and it comes from knowledge and tools, and literally learning from your mistakes. There's nothing about literally people having equal tools in life. Nobody has equal fucking tools in life. And the biggest thing of extremely exchange, like Lily, when Robert and Sabo tried to set me up, Lily, they tried to see, well, Eris Lily doesn't get a job at that, and I get at will, even though I'm full of shit because they get extremely exchange. I'm like, no, you get jobs because you're desperate, you're trying too hard to be gangster, and you're fucking white. Nothing about extremely exchange. There's complexity on your side of the field. Lily, he chooses not to take your route. He could have a temp job if he wanted to. You call this extremely exchange? No, you just sell for less. And then you make your extremely exchange in your head, but in reality situation, it's not. And this anime makes you think, and that's no reason why it's a kid's anime. It's so that because really they don't view everything, they view everything but their concept of how he even got those powers. You get what I'm saying? And Extremely Exchange was dead. The moment when Sabo had to really try to team up with a gang to take me down. Yes, all fair is square now, but look what happened to Sabo. Sabo had the intention of fucking me up, and guess what happened? He ended up fucking himself up because what happened is he played the coward role too long. So what happened is this. So Stone and them have vigorous adventures when they stalk me in California. They blame the area that I'm like, you're a nerd. I'm doing the most interesting thing in your league. Of course you're gonna stalk me. I don't care. View it as a TV show. As long as you don't do anything at my expense. I view it like that. So when they try to get the gang and shit like that, it was like, we need somebody like smart like that because he keeps on dodging the bullet. And so Sabo heard that. I'm like, oh no, he became the man who I knew he was going to be when I looked it up online. What happens when somebody looks past your reverse psychology and he looked it up online? He's like, that means somebody's been delaying the fight for a while. He's finally going to become a fighter. They keep on delaying it. I don't. And the Yahoo answer says, I don't suggest you fucking with this person. So what he did is he went outside the Google algorithm and added nerd logic to our gang. And so the gang knew, you know how you're a grown ass man and you're really superior to a gang because all you have to do is think like this, oh, I know you. I used to be in high school too. You're very dominant then, but I grew a long time since then. If you try to treat me the same, I'm gonna show you what I learned from life. And I kept on hitting him with that over and over and over again. So like, we gotta have to get somebody who thinks on his level in order, because what he's doing is he's talking shit, Lily, and he's telling us to fight. So Lily, we're not gonna be everyone like Lily. He's whooping our ass. He's dodging up bullets. And we were trying to stalk him to a droid and try to see what he's doing. He's like, hey, what the fuck's up? And I take a red mitten on Lily this. Like, you want me to slap you with this red mitten that I used to cook? Lily, it's fucking crazy as fuck, Lily. I do so much shit like that, Lily. Fucking Lily, this and that, Lily. And then I even fooled them like, man, like, Lily, it's not like you gotta let me see your bitches anyway. I'm gonna join your gang. So what I do is I put on a red hat, but I already call my niggas. And they're like, oh, he's finally got to join our gang. And then all of a sudden, the gang that protects you, you got distracted by the red hat. All I'm doing is taking pieces of what's going on and I'm selling you a dream. Lily, all because you guys are on edge. You guys view me as the hotshot. You guys view me as that because you're desperate. I'm like, dude, you should take that in consideration at all. I just dodged all your bullets. I said, okay, I'll join your gang because you caught about me for my bitches anyway. Don't I get play at night? Lily, this guy's so fucking funny. So Lily, Sabo, Lily, but Sabo has a way to get past it. So Sabo, what he tried to do is he tried to add a Death Note mentality to a gang. So what happened was this. He's like, Lily, Stones are like, yo, you can't get about this. And Stone's like, you gotta watch this guy named Shikamaru. And then Sabo's like, Stone, you don't know how to talk to a gang. Let me handle this. I'm like, Lily. So he's showing my battle. He's like, you know how this guy said gravity, this, and that? I took all that out and called him a little kid. And the gang was like, what the fuck? I'm like, that shit didn't even fool us. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? So that, like, I even got even more desperate at hacking this YouTube algorithm and stuff that, like, bro, that would never fool us and stuff like that. You have given us a really big tour in the hands because it's a gang's job to literally freaking, if you're not going all out in your career, you might as well join a gang. So they look at every legal crazy excuse that you're making for yourself. But what if they come into a guy who's back there corner who's making no excuses for himself? Someone who's actually is going all out in what he wants to do, but can't use the tools because you drove him out of school because of his pussy addiction. Literally, what if he learned everything from the internet when you guys try to finally fight him? Lily and this and that, and now they couldn't fuck with me. So Lily, they told him Lily. So Sabo was like, I have to tell him how he thinks. I have to tell him, look, Lily, what his advantages are because they can't call my girls a slut because I'm gonna go back. Oh yes, he has a fat ass too, Lily, because I played the game better than him because I own a hip hop company. So any fucking way, Sabo told him like this. I'm like, this guy plays off stress. What you have to do is you have to Lily, you have to flip it like a fucking nerd. What you have to do is you have to belittle him after he does something great. And it's got hit reverse psychology. And it's like it here at first because it's gonna think about the ass to fall back on. So Lily, you gotta have to Lily, you have to do this over and over again. Whenever he wins, you have to stalk. Whenever he wins, you have to stalk. And I saw that strategy. So guess what happened? What Sabo was doing, he's telling them this isn't like a physical game. This is a mental game because Lily, what he's going to do is he's 1,000 times smarter than you. So what he's gonna do is you're gonna try you know versus I know, you know versus I know. But he's twice as fast, twice as strong, he's twice as much as a grown man. So Lily, so that's Lily. What you have to do is you have to make him seem like dodging bullets is shit when you get home, and you have to apply logic because it's not challenging. Because what I did was I made him accomplish shit over and over again and said nothing else is due. It got to his head, but it didn't stop society from filling the hole. Before he creases the bridge, we need to make that imprint or something. We need to make that something to expand upon. So guess what happened? I took Sabo's advice of what they were doing was working. I was getting kind of stressed, like why do they keep coming back? A gang is supposed to leave by now because a gang is for survival. But Sabo told them the one strategy that took away from survival. If we can get him mentally, we can put him back into his original state. And so then he'll start coming to conclusions like, yo, he's just like us. He's at home all day. He'll have to go underscored. He'll have to come back to air row. If we keep on Lily overriding him with stress and stuff like that, and then once he's in the air row, we can really be chill with him, try to negotiate with him and stuff like that. But none of that happened. I consider them all Lily opponents at that time. And so guess what happened when he tried to apply that Death Note strategy? I started talking shit. I started talking major shit like you stupid ass BD bag and shit like that. Lily, oh, you gotta come close to you. I already know I can beat you in a fight. Oh, so things are good when you don't have the upper hand, huh? So you only like punking people when you know you're 10 times stronger than, but you never face somebody your own size, huh? Oh yeah, I did take it out your favorite teacher's book because now I can do everything you can't do better. Now I know how to fight. What you gonna do, buddy? What you gonna do? I'm not the same little kid in high school anymore. I'm talking shit. I'm telling you to fight. And Lily over and over and over again and saw Lily. And then Lily got down. He's like, just ignore it. Just ignore it. They got town. I'm like, oh, so you're playing this shit? I'm gonna do this one thing just because I'm bored. So I'm sitting over here playing my video game, Lily, and they know I'm regional Yu-Gi-Oh! They watch every single battle between me and Sabo, and they wanted to meet me halfway, saying, you know what, Sabo's a bitch. Like Lily, he edited the fuck out of that battle. We thought you did really good, especially since we come from your same area. I'm like, you guys try to shoot me every fucking day, and that's why this game's fucking retarded. Lily, this and that. Lily, they have this fucking philosophy so that they forget about principles way too fucking much. You're the enemy. I'm not gonna take anything you fucking say into consideration. So Lily, I started saying shit like this. I'm I'm like, Yu-Gi-Oh, you Lily, fucking, you guys are doing the same thing every day. You ever watch Yu-Gi-Oh? You know how you got to think of something and offer your opponent to fall for you? You got to think of where you beat your opponent, man. Like, you ever play Yu-Gi-Oh? You got to think of where you beat your opponent. You got to think of where you beat me. You ain't ever watched Yu-Gi-Oh? And so that, and they took us like, yo, he's actually speaking all language. It's like, no, I want you to leave me alone. And they actually took the bait. It's like, dude, he's failing us and stuff that. And then my gang that protects you came and instantly, and they had to move out the area. And Lily, that's literally what I did. So Sabo, once he saw that I could fool the perspective and sold him a dream, knew it was time to stop. And so literally, at that point, Sabo got so fucking mad. And what was the strictly exchange about the entire situation? What? Sabo tried to make it strictly exchange mentally, but what happened? It's strictly exchange only happened with a situation. We were stuck in a ninja move. It's either I'm gonna take your talking shit into consideration or focus on the one who talks better shit. It's either I'm gonna stay and literally let you get to me, or I'm gonna do something about it. Literally, that's literally, we were stuck in a strictly exchange situation where it came to mentality, but since I don't view life like a movie anymore, I supremely laughed at it and started capping back Corey for 7. And then I started like literally giving examples of what I'm about to do. I'm like, you do realize you have to restrain me, right? You do realize you literally you have to put your hands on me, and you don't want to do that because you have to risk a partner. I'm like, that's the only realistic way to go. You know how games work. I'm like, if I do what he says, he might be setting me up for a trap. But he looks at all the videos, he's like, that is the only realistic way to win. So that means if I do come at him, he already has a backup plan. So there's no way I can fool him with fucking gangster shit, because I have to be considered what he's about to do and shit like Lily. And so I tell him literally everything. You know what I can do with you? You know why you guys are so fucking funny? You think you're so hard with your gun? What if I literally take that gun and bend your wrist and stomp on your feet? Like, and I tell him, you're this thing called human, with this thing called a gang against your ego, literally to a point where literally I can't punch you in the fucking heart and you not fall on the ground. Oh, my fucking chest is made of steel and shit. No, it's not. Nothing about that situation is equal. Nothing is equal. And don't think that they weren't spamming that shit like Lily. And then they try to say we're all part of God. We're all no. Why I make better decisions? Why I continue to rise up and you stay the same? Nothing is equal about this, Lily. And that's what Stone tried to do at that night. It was horrible. So this is a shout out to our officer in Fremont. Our officer wanted me to give him a shout out for this video because yesterday what happened was this. So here's how it happened. Sabo lost his sanity because the way I dealt the game, that was his only hope, and he knew that they couldn't get me. And he knew him making a difference. So him plus him, that's made it 0. Extremely exchange, no. Lily, Sabo Lily was a 0 on top of 25. Lily, 25 times 0 was still 0. And Sabo's Lily perspective of everything was fucking worse. Lily, extremely exchange, no. There was no such fucking thing. So guess what happened that night with Stone? When Stone tried to Lily, what happened is I dodged the bullets for ease. I was thinking about poker. I was thinking about Lily, how close I am to crossing the bridge. Lily, how close I am to being a full-on adult. And Lily, all I have to do is keep this up. And Stone got hella mad because I was dodging bullets, but I wasn't getting cocky. And the whole point that they wanted to do, they wanted me to feel their adrenaline less still in order for me to leave themselves open. Because what they were trying to do, they were trying to use their adrenaline against because they heard I never got to use it before, but they know I'm not dumb either. So I was composed. So I was doing that. I was really fucking them up. I was walking up to their car and they're trying to shoot me. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I still have a gun in my hand. I'm like, shoot me. Like, Lily. And so they open their car windows and they're trying to look for me when the glasses break. And then Lily, I hop on the fucking side and Lily, they run out of bullets. I'm like, oh, we have to fight him now. So we all keep fighting. It was done. He hopped in the car and I hit him with the uppercut, and the other person tried to steal attack me from the back. Lily, I'm ducking. I fuck him up. Lily, this and that. I wait till you run out of bullets and you get out the car. Then I'm fucking all you up. And I've been doing shit like that. So Lily, fucking Stone knew this and that. And Lily, it was getting down to the point of like, I am viewing my family more than this media shit. So Lily, I forgot how it happened. Like, Lily, I had to yell down pat. I already explained this story. Like, Lily, I did the yell trial. So, like, Lily, what happened was this, Lily, I was in the same situation as Livingstone, but I wasn't exclusively exchanged, but he tried to make it. So what he did was Livingstone talked to her gang about how do I get him to not reconsider his family and stuff like that. And they're like, no, there is a way. So what you have to do is you have to trap him in the same situations. So, Lily, Livingstone was suicidal over and over again due to my girls and stuff like that. So guess what happened when he had a gas station? He tried to talk shit to me. I'm like, he tried to talk shit to me while I already prepared. I'm like, dude, you already know I'm a nice person. I'm not gonna start shit. You already know I did in real life. When this got done dodging bullets, I'm not gonna call you out because I know you gotta try to use the wrist to call you like it ain't shit. But I know you gotta take advantage of the fact you're a small brat. So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, it's okay, Livingstone. You do the same thing every day. I'm just gonna say I lost another chromosome, and he's over here with a big ass hole in his head for being suicidal. And guess what he says to me? He's like, yeah, well, you know, like you might lose them all. And literally, he expects He knows he's an idiot, and he's supposed to literally. He thinks that I'm just gonna look at the fact that he's an idiot, acting like I never had a disability on paper, acting like it doesn't affect me, and then he starts going into detail like, literally, I'm like, you know what? You got caught sexually harassing my girl. He's like, Riz, when you kiss a girl, you're going to jail. When you kiss a girl, like you're going to jail. He tried to kiss my girl over and over again. I have really DNA evidence of him trying to rape my girl, but I don't mention because you're a fucking loser, and I use that as bribery of like, you know what I want. I can send you in jail immediately and stuff like that. But he used it against me. I'm like, you're taking advantage of the fact that I'm a fucking loser. I'm like, back it up with your actions, back it up with your actions. Turn your webcam, turn your webcam. And he's like, oh fuck it, literally. And he didn't turn it on. And then he literally, and then he tries talking shit. Literally, there's a big ass hole in his head, and he takes advantage of the screen. And I knew what the truth is in real life. But you got caught sexually harassing my girl, and you got holes in your head. He's like, Riz, you are smoking. I'm already in Arizona. I'm like, okay, then turn on your cam. He's like, I don't have to turn on my cam to an autistic kid. I don't have to turn on my cam to an autistic kid. I'm like, you're a fucking loser. No, I needed him to give that evidence, and really fucking, he denied it the whole time. So guess what I did? You know, I'm all like, you know what? And literally, he's like, Riz, I'm not scared. Dude, what if I keep doing it? I'm like, you're only ready for a front. You got prepared for that shit. If you're ready in general, it doesn't matter if I do it twice. It doesn't matter if I do it at all. I told him that night, I'm like, Lily, you think that yell is hard? Little do you know that's just a yell. What happens when somebody applies action to that yell? Do you get it? And yell is just a yell. You don't know anything about complexity, buddy. And he tried to trap me that night. Literally took me back to first grade because I got caught literally kissing a girl when I was in elementary school. And so Stone making excuses due to reverse psychology of what happened to him on me took me all the way back to first grade. And when it was done, even though I won, he kicked me out the call. I'm like, I let him get away with his precious style, and all he did was kick me out the call. And all I had to do was to shut him up and make him cry. It's like, you believe her daughter Uzumaki believe it. It's like, Riz, you're a card. I'm like, you believe her daughter Uzumaki believe it. And he started crying. He kicked me out the call. And his precious style didn't stop him from kicking me out the call. I'm like, then what was the whole purpose? You wasted my entire time. Is Scribbly Exchange? Not at all. And Lily, I was almost crying myself to sleep like, God, why'd you put me in the same situation as him? Why do so much work to him while I'm so much better than him? And God literally stayed silent. But there was a fake voice in my head that was made by my friend saying, you know, you have to deal with it. This is a part of you growing up and being a man. I'm like, because you made it a movie so much that I finally became down to earth, that little voice is stuck in my head. But guess what? He couldn't say shit ever since then. And guess what happened? He held on to that angle so long to look what happened to Armand. That's what happened, Chashy. That lets you know it was 100% unnecessary. There's no such thing as Scribbly Exchange. That was 100% forced bullshit. So everybody got that concept, or everybody literally was trying to literally say like, yo, he's been through enough, Like, no, he hasn't been through shit at all. Like, he's never had to face problems. He's never had to use his mind. When we got finally put him in a situation where you have to force him to use his mind, why is I stuck with him and stuff like that? I'm so much better than him. It's not because Stone thinks that literally we're still equal, that the arrow still means stuff to me, but literally, I know that literally it's a piece of fucking junk. It's a fucking playground. That's why it was never fucking serious. But he's trying to take the prime things like me versus Sabo, like literally Black versus like literally Bush and stuff like that. He's taking all that. He's trying to put that over me like those times are dead. This is serious. I gotta take care of her family and shit. Why do I have to be in the same situation as him? And God, in actuality, stayed silent. And this is why people are full of shit. And you have to understand because of this fucking concept. Lily, he already knew it was a bad decision and he forced himself to be relevant. Nothing about Scribbly Exchange at all. You know how Scribbly Exchange doesn't exist? They tried to pull the same thing with Livingstone, adding on the timeline, like officially on paper, triggering fast the fact that I'm in the same place. I'm bored, I rarely get into the scored calls, and I get into one, and you treat me like I'm the same as you, like I'm a crack rank like you, like I'm bored all day like you, like I didn't get done dodging bullets like it ain't shit. Literally, like I've never fucked a girl before. I'm just a nerd just like you, just because we're in the same call. Are you fucking serious? Literally, what is wrong with this? So guess what somebody did? Kibo kept on debugging it. It was unnecessary. It was that he didn't have to do that shit. Livingstone needs to die over and over and over again. Girls and everybody are agreeing with that. And so guess what one guy does when he doesn't get social appraisal? He tried to be a grown man and saying, well, you know, Livingstone's a part of his like storyline, and like Eris should really pay attention to him because literally he's a part of the evolution of his life. So Eris is to pay attention to him. So literally, that's one little pinch. All Livingstone did was one little pinch. He shouldn't be able to get near him, let alone touch him at all. And literally, we really started putting emphasis on. He started getting shunned by people in public saying, well, it's just a little pinch. You have to understand where he stays like his storyline. Like, no, stop doing shit like an anime. This is the whole reason why we're stuck. Guess what happened? They tried to force a cop in the same situation. What that a cop got his daughter. His daughter talked to me that I need to make this video. Because what they did was they tried to be a dead horse, right? Literally fucking, they tried to make them evaluate a situation if I was a predator or not. Literally, so what a cop did was he speeded up right towards me at the gas station and he stopped immediately. He flashed his light and I walked off like literally knowing what I was supposed to do. And literally someone would up to me, he's like, you know why he did that? Because guess what he did? Somebody said, Lily, can you look at this guy? I'm like, dude, this guy is blue trace. My daughter subscribed to him. Like, this is not Lily. What is this? Is this serious? He's like, I need you to go, you see, like, label, like, to see if he's a predator. He's like, I already know he's not a predator. I look at his YouTube channel. The cop is talking to a little ass kid trying to get social appraisal and shit. He's like, what the fuck is this? So Lily, he said that, well, I already called. It's a part of your job. It's a part of the Constitution that you have to listen to my request. So all you have to do is evaluate the situation. And he's all like, wait, that's what are you trying to say? You're trying to put me in the same position as Harrison Livingstone? Or are you saying that you're trying to get me with that paper shit? You're trying to literally align shit so much that literally you're trying to say that even I have to deal with it? Me, an officer in the United States, a fucking cop has to deal with Livingstone shit where I'm a grown man with children? Like these muscles that I use to fuck up crime ain't shit? Literally, and he looked at me like this, I need you to make this fucking video. Literally, this guy thought I wasn't going to be a screen. He thought I was just going to be a stereotypical cop on TV. So what he did is, he went past me and he stopped immediately and let me know, I'm not going to follow you. And so that, and you know what, during me today, he's like, it's your job to listen to my request. Even if you don't like it, I'm forcing you to stay in the same situation. Just like Livingstone forced me to deal with him that night. Nothing about a Scribbling Exchange. The cop laughed at Scribbling Exchange right there and there. Like, you're just mad because he's a fucking player. You're just mad is that his body language told you fucking everything. A fucking cop told you you're being a fucking prick. A cop out all people told you you're being a fucking prick. There's no such thing as a Scribbling Exchange.